So David, you've alluded to a number of false statements. Can you give us some examples? I guess false statements and bias, perhaps. Can you give us some concrete examples that we could really see that would back up? I mean, we're going to be forensic interviewers, right? So just tell me the facts that lead you to your conclusion that you have that there are statements in there that do not appear to be accurate.
Well, I think understandably there's going to be a little bit of caution when discussing that.
Right.
But I think something that's already been discussed and divulged. She had described me in the report in a very negative light in terms of my personality functioning.
Okay.
And used terms like narcissistic.
Is she qualified to make that diagnosis?
In the family code, under her role of functioning, she should be making that diagnosis.
Okay.
Not that specific, but should be making diagnoses of each party. And as a requirement, she should be, of any psychological testing that she may have performed, she should include those results in the body of the report, in the narrative. Because in the report, whatever is being said in the report has to be supported by documentation, supportive facts.
Did she support her allegation?
So she used terms like narcissistic, psychotic.
Sociopath, maybe?
I don't remember if she used that, but it was quite a lot of negative.
Bitter, vengeful.
Yeah, a lot of negative terms. But yet, the psychological testing, my psychological testing, which was the MMPI.
Okay, so tell us what the MMPI is.
Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, and there's revised versions.
Right,
And then another thing was the Personality Assessment Inventory.
Okay.
And so, for the viewers, what the MMPI does is it helps display what a person's personality styles are.
Right.
And a personality style is their ongoing way they deal with life. They deal with their emotions, they deal with their thoughts, how they handle situations. And that can be affected by stress, but you wouldn't really see a lot of variation on the testing, even under stress. Okay. And then the personality assessment is another assessment of somebody's personality functioning. And that's a little bit different because what it does, it takes a lot of questions, it puts them into kind of what they're called clusters, and it compares your clusters, my clusters, with clusters of other types of groups. Okay. And so my psychological testing by the MMPI and the PIA, the personality assessment, was essentially normal. Within normal range. And which I thought was good, obviously, but given the stress of any custody situation or case, which there's a lot of stress,
right?
It I think boded even better for me because under stress, I was able to continue some normal functioning. And my personality assessment inventory clusters matched groups that had some higher levels of moral functioning.
Okay.
Like it matched law enforcement officers or organ donors or, what was the healthcare professionals, things like that. And then there was the Rorschach.
So you're a normal guy, and you have a little bit more of an altruistic, in a sense, or caring personality, or
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and then if you're gonna have a psychotic process, you're gonna have early indicators of a psychotic process.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be very difficult.
And there was an absence of those.
And there was an absence of those.
But the description was
not consistent with that.
Okay, got it.
Whatsoever.
Okay.
And she did not include that in the body of the report.
Okay.
So it became obvious why she didn't include it in the body of the report.
It
contradicts each other.
Yeah.
And so those two types of tests are valid, and they can be held up under scrutiny, even within the Daubert challenge.
Yeah.
The third type of thing she did.
Well, let me ask. Maybe you can't answer this question, but I mean, so you're normal. You have all of these, these good traits and everything like that. Did she include the same analysis of your son's mother?
Both parties had the same testing, but I'm only going to speak about myself.
Okay.
So,
That's fair.
Yeah. So the other thing that she did was the Rorschach ink blot. And really, that's not a consistently valid test. And it has nothing to do with parent-child relationship ability. It has nothing to do with parent-child attachment.
Yeah.
It's been described to me as one of those tests you use just so you can bill, you know? And so it's not, you can't use that test in and of itself to identify if there's psychopathology.
Yeah.
What it can be used as is that...
Sorry about that.
That's okay. If on other valid testing, you see that there's severe issues, then if you do the Rorschach would probably say, okay, it's going to back that up.
Yeah, okay.
But in and of itself, the Rorschach's
means
it's not a valid test that would stand up under Dahlberg challenge.
Gotcha.
And very few people use it among the experts that have scrutinized her report with me.
Okay.
The other thing that she did is she made a recommendation that I needed to have further neuropsychological testing because of my cognitive deficits. But the family code is very specific of when a custody evaluator begins to recommend that. And there are specific criteria to do that. And then the family code refers to those criteria through the insurance code. Because there are specific diagnoses that are listed as what they call serious mental health problems that need referral. Well, I, in my subjective report, did not give any subjective report of anything indicating any of those diagnoses. And obviously in my personality testing, the valid test did not have any indication of any of those serious diagnoses.
But she said you...
And in my developmental history and my professional history, there's no material that suggests that. As she even says in her report, I'm a high functioning or high achiever. I've been a physician, child and adolescent psychiatry, advocating for the healthy kids for over 25 years. I'm practicing multiple aspects, multiple environments of that, including juvenile and adult justice. So these are inconsistencies in this type of statement.
So what are the experts